Hi there and welcome. Today we're taking a look at the ICL One Per Desk. This machine was co-developed between Sinclair Research and British Telecoms. And it's basically everything that the QL wasn't. Sinclair with the QL wanted to do a higher end machine for office use. And rumor had it that even Sinclair didn't use the Sinclair QL at their own headquarters. But this machine is a very unique and a very nice piece of hardware. Of course, it's based on the Sinclair QL, but it has additional hardware ports at the back, and we'll take a look at that later. Of course, what sets it apart the most is the telephone facility. It has a telephone handset on the left, as you can see, and it also has a data modem on the back. So basically it has two lines, and this machine has a speech synthesizer, and it was able to record messages. So it's basically very good for a receptionist. The machine came with one of two different kind of monitors. It had a 14-inch color monitor that I do not have here, and then it has this monitor here. This was available. A little, I think it's 12-inch or 10-inch black and green. And I really like this monitor here. It looks like something that a receptionist would use. If we take a closer look, the first thing that we notice, of course, is the telephone set. The handset here on the left. And this can use two different lines. On my OPD here, line 1 is extension 250, and line 2 it doesn't say. But anyway, this plugs into the back of the machine. There's a telephone module at the back. We'll take a look at that later and also open it up and see what's inside. Apart from the handset, it has a full-size keyboard, and it's a little bit soggy, but it's not that bad. It has buttons for an answering machine, like a start, play, resume, review. So you can take a look at your messages or listen to your messages using that. Then it has a list and a recall function, a speaker function, and a last dial number, so you can redial. Now this machine also came with two micro drives. And these drives were different from the Sinclair QLs. Because apparently BT wasn't happy with the quality of the micro drive, and they redesigned some of the electronics, or redesigned the way data was stored on the cartridge itself to be more reliable. The machine itself has no connectors on either side, except down here on the left there's a volume control for the speaker, and on the back there's one. If you can see that, there's a major cartridge here which contains all the modem and telephony stuff. Then we have a connector from the monitor, and power comes in here as well. Then we have a serial port, and we have a ROM pack. And well, there we go. It's a little pack like this, and you can plug in additional ROMs here. I have one ROM, and I already opened it up, and it was really difficult. But we'll take a look inside the ROM and do that later. And that's it, really. Now, if you look at the sticker here, it says system license ICL Sinclair. Supplied under license blah 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 blah. Made in the UK, 1984. So it was pretty contemporary with the QL. Now the story goes that Sinclair and ICL were arguing back and forth about everything, basically about this design. And I think once we open it up, we will see why it took so long to develop this machine, because the hardware is really, really weird. But okay, let's open it up and have a look inside. There you go. There you go. And we have the main machine down here, and then we have two micro drives and a loudspeaker and the cradle for the handset in the lid. But let's just unplug the top first and take a look at that independently. So okay, if we start with the top, as I said, there's a little PCB with a connector for the cradle here and the two micro drives. And this is what it looks like from the back. The two micro drives, they have drive electronics just next to the motor and the mechanism. And on the right we have the loudspeaker and the connector for the cradle. The PCB for the cradle looks very homemade, and it's basically just mounted by melting the plastic. There were two tabs, you put it in, fit it in, and then melted the plastic. That's a really cheap method. Apart from that, we have in here, there's something that can be removed, this piece of plastic, and inside there's room for a 9-volt backup battery. I don't think I can get it out, it's quite difficult. Oh, like that, okay. So if we have the one per desk like that, there's a room here for a little 9-volt battery. And yeah, fair enough, I guess. But you can see that the design process here must have been very, you know, to make a decision to make such a huge battery compartment, such a big lid like this. I mean, they could have just made a little thing at the back, just like most people do today, with a little clip and you can open it up. But they went for this massive design here. And yeah, I don't know why, but very tedious, I think. So okay, if you're familiar with the QL, you will know that it's basically a main CPU and two ASICs or ULAs from Sinclair, and a controller chip for doing the keyboard controls. So yeah. Okay, so now we're in and we'll take a look at the layout, which is, I think, really weird. The thing has been partitioned into a main board and a CPU module, with the CPU on it, of course. But yeah, I don't know why they did it like this, but let's just go through the hardware, and then I think you will probably agree with me that this is really weird. We have, of course, the three main chips here. These are all, these two are the standard Sinclair chips, and they take care of the video generation and the memory mapping and stuff like this, and interfacing between the CPU and the memory. Then there is another custom chip, which is an ICL chip, and this chip takes care of interfacing to the modem, which plugs in over here, and stuff like that. Apart from the three main chips, there's a little bit of glue logic, and then we have a lot of RAM here. There's 128K. It actually turned out that the 128K of RAM was not sufficient. The operating system itself was able to swap applications, so that, for instance, the telephony application would be running in the background while you were doing word processing using Scion Quill. Apart from that RAM, we have a little RAM chip here, which is 2K by 8, and that is, as far as I know, battery backed up through this battery here. So this little memory could store phone numbers and stuff like this. On the left side here, we have interface to the telephone modem. And yeah, I really don't understand this circuit here. We have a lot of resistors, we have a lot of optocouplers, we have a little battery backup here, some relays, and this is really it's really strange. But obviously this was done for British Telecom modem, and they were really paranoid back in the day that you plugged in something to the phone line. But anyway, we have the CPU module here, and it really can't be an afterthought, because what we have on this module here is the main CPU. Then we have a lot of ROMs. These are the operating system, and that one, for instance, is the operating system. This machine was not software compatible with the QL, and that was also a bit of a problem. And then we have something that is really weird, because this machine, of course, had a speech synthesizer built in. And that was a 2 chipset thing from Texas Instruments. And one of the speech synthesizers is here. Half of the chipset is sitting on the CPU module, and the other one is sitting underneath. And that is just a strange decision, I think, made by ICL Sinclair, sorry. And it's just, It's just strange. It's very difficult to take out, but just for this, there we go. And you can see underneath we have the second part of the speech synthesizer. Then we have 2 spare sockets, I think probably for some ROM code. And finally we have some driver chips for the COM port, for the printer port. It's a serial printer port, and they're using the standard 12 plus minus 12 volt line drivers. Then we have a little circuit here that is used to drive the monitor, and of course power comes in through this connector as well. But there are no voltage regulators here. All the power supply is in the monitor itself. I don't know why they had to do this module. They could have put these chips on the main board, I think, without much problem. There's a lot of space down here where you could extend the PCB. But anyway, that's the way they did it. I don't have a landline here, and this machine unfortunately is not working. But what we see on the monitor when I switch it on is random patterns on the monitor. So it looks like some of these ULAs have stopped working. I will try to repair it, and if I succeed there will be a repair video, but I really don't have confidence in this. There's no circuit diagram, no schematics, no nothing. But anyway, let's take a look at the ROM cartridges and the modem board. Okay, so let's just take a look at the ROM cartridge. And basically what we have in here is a lot of software. And this is the early version with only 2 connectors. See, when this one sits here, you can get cartridges like this one, and it plugs in here. This one is called the ICL Link, but anyway, they are just ROM cartridges, very similar to the Sinclair Interface 2 cartridges. But if I can get that apart again, there we go. Okay, so inside here there's basically just a lot of mask ROMs, and it says here ROM pack with Exchange, and Exchange was basically the Xeon QL applications, which is basically the word processor, the drawing program, and the database and stuff like that. So all the business applications were available as an additional cartridge. The ROM cartridges is also the same. If I can get it out, it's basically just an EEPROM on a PCB. But anyway, that was my teardown of the ICL One Per Desk. I cannot plug it in, as I said. The video is garbage. It looks like the CPU is not running, or one of the ULAs have died. So unfortunately, I have a complete One Per Desk with a lot of interesting software, Xeon software in ROM, but I can't test it out right now. I will, of course, when I get time, try to repair it and see whether we can get it up and running, but I'm not too confident. A lot of these ULA chips on the main board, they're not easily available anymore. So yeah, anyway, I hope you found this interesting, and I think this will be the first part of my ICL collection teardown. I have another 3 ICL machines apart from the One Per Desk, and I think we might just as well take a look at these in the next couple of videos. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again real soon.